right, welcome into another edition of the Good and Plenty podcast. I am your host, Jeff Goodman, and we got another great show for you today. Basketball right around the corner. NBA training camps open up next week. College basketball, believe it or not, the first day of official practice this week. And we'll talk to somebody, Michigan State coach Tom Izzo, who started practice today. You'll get his thoughts on the off season, what it's like, what he would change, his mental state now compared to a year or 2 years ago. We'll get his thoughts on the recent notice of allegations by the NCAA to Kansas, the new three-point line. Cassius Winston, what he needs to do to get better. I don't know what more he can take on, but we'll talk to Tom about that as well. Remember, subscribe to the Good and Plenty podcast, the only podcast that really goes from the NBA, the highest level, to college, all the way down to grassroots. And we will start our twice-a-week podcast here soon in the next week or so because there'll be plenty more to talk about now that the offseason is pretty much officially behind us. Remember, today's show brought to you in part by betonline.ag. You can subscribe to this pod wherever you listen to your pods. You do that, iTunes, Stitcher. You can find me at Goodman Hoops on Twitter. You can also find me at Watch Stadium. And you can find the pod and much more at CLNS Media. But let's get to it. All right, Tom. So your first practice was today. It's September, the 4th? This seems way too early.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
It's ridiculous.
For a million years when we went on October 15th, and that has gradually changed, but this is by far the earliest and the longest season just after we came, after playing 3 weeks later. But it is what it is, the same for everybody. You don't have to start today, I guess, but it was a good day. I enjoyed being there with the guys and, ready to start the year.
Did you look at this team today and say to yourself, yes, this has the look of a preseason number one team in the country?
No. And the only reason I say that, Jeff, is because, we lost more than people think.
Yeah.
I mean, Ward was a starter for most of his 3 seasons. And of course, McQuaid was just one of those glue guys, and so was Goins. They were 30 points and 15 rebounds, 16 rebounds, and a lot of experience. But at the same time, I don't know who else got everything. I've got a great guard. I've got a kind of a center who's played really well, and Aaron Henry, had such a great finish, Jeff, and now he's had a great offseason. The big key is going to be, is Josh Langford, can he get back to where he was? Can a couple freshmen and sophomores come together as the 4 spot? But I like my team a lot. I'm just not sure we're ready for that, but I also embrace it because I think it's a great compliment to the program.
See, I'm looking down the roster, and I know what's going to put you over the top. You know what it is?
No.
I didn't even know he was on the roster. Steven Izzo. Well, when I first met your son, he would have been the last one I ever thought would have been on a Michigan State roster, even as a walk-on. The last one.
If I was to be honest with you, Jeff, what happened was, last year he's on his 2 years ago he's on his high school team, and Steven's a little guy, as you know, and didn't play a lot, and I don't know if he was going to go out his senior year, and I said, you know what, I said, you got to do what you got to do, but you got to play in something, and he says, well, and I don't want to, and I said, fine, and 2 weeks go by, and he brings me this list. He had Bill Self on there with his son. He had John Calipari's son on there, and his son, Mike Krzyzewski's grandson, to be on the team. And I said, if you work hard and you make your team in that, maybe you will. Maybe you can walk on next year. And this was thinking he was going to be a manager or something. And he worked his butt off, and I just said to myself, as a walk-on, he's on the Izzo scholarship, not the Michigan State one. But as a walk-on, it gives me a chance to be around him and be by him.
It's awesome, Tom.
And,
that's what you do.
It is.
Listen,
awesome. I make up for
you're at a certain
years I didn't get to.
Right. You're at a certain point in your life, too, where I think, and again, no disrespect to him, but I remember when I first met him, he was kind of I don't want to say a goofball, but like he was kind of more happy-go-lucky, fun. It didn't look like he had that desire to want to be on the Michigan State team. So obviously, he's come a long way, and I think it's always cool.
You know what, Jeff? You said it right, and if nothing else, I'm watching him lift all summer. Throw up the first time he lifted hard. Like everybody else.
Yep.
It was so great, and I think he's really grown as a person, and he'll be a great teammate, and he'll help the guys, and how long he sticks with it, I don't know, but it's been priceless to have him on. So I'm good with it, even though some people won't be.
I can't wait to see him kill you in the locker room to his teammates. He will kill you.
Oh, no, there's one rule here. I said you can still be kind of a goofball or a little bit, mouthy at home, because that's what 18-year-olds do, right?
Yes.
But I said the difference at work, the difference on my team, I get to say jump, you say oh hi. So I'm kind of like that part of it.
He'll listen to you. He'll finally listen to you again.
That's great.
Right? All right, so where's your mental state now? I know it was better a year ago, and we're coming up to Big Ten Media Day next week, which was a forum for you a year ago to air a little bit of your pent-up energy that you had against the media, and rightfully so. Listen, I'll say it, and I've said it publicly. I was at ESPN throughout a lot of that, and you know me. There won't be any bullshit. I'll say it the way it is. I felt like ESPN treated you unfairly in a lot of ways that year, and putting a picture of you with Larry Nassar was just beyond disrespectful, over the top, the wrong thing to do.
I think that was the thing that hurt Antonio and I the most. But you know what? Where am I at? Nothing will ever be the same. And I mean here too, and nothing will be the same for the people that went through stuff. But the thought that I was involved in it really bothered us. But I'm in a better place. I've learned a lot, as you have. I've talked many times about different things, and where I'm at right now is I got a great team. I got guys I really enjoy being around. I still got the program. We've averaged 27 wins the last 4 or 5 years. I think that's in a good place. I mean, we're rebuilding and retooling a little bit, and everything we've gone through here, but I'm doing good, and there's people worse off than me, so I'm doing really good, and I think that the better job we do this year, and the better job we do trying to help kids understand the pitfalls that are out there and behave themselves well, and all that kind of stuff is what you'll use with your family, I'll use with my family, and I use with my Michigan State family.
So you are now 64. You're approaching that like Social Security year, that you think about, of 65. So I don't know if that.
I don't feel that way, but.
No, and you've always had energy. Listen, I say it all the time. I'm 48 now, Tom, and I don't want to travel like I used to. I kind of dread getting on a plane now, dealing with the travel. I want to be places. I just don't want to go through the process to get to those places.
Good point.
How much, like, when I think of you, I do think of somebody that is a basketball lifer and is going to coach until somebody tells you you can't coach anymore. Do you feel that way?
You know what? I think I'm a basketball lifer, but I don't think I'd ever do that. I watch too many guys do it. I watch some guys that I half idolized, and maybe they stayed a year or two too long. I said just about what you said, Jeff. You and I have been on we've been on trips together. We've been on airplanes going from Vegas to Orlando. Remember all those days when you're traveling on the road, and I think I look at all that stuff, and the day that I don't want to do that, the day that I can't take a red eye from Vegas to Orlando, probably the day I hang it up. And I don't see that anywhere in the near future. I really appreciate where I'm at, Jeff. I think I'm trying to kind of reacclimate myself to everything and realize that even though there's frustrating moments in college sports and that, I can have a tremendous impact on people, and those people can have a tremendous impact on me. And as many coaches have told me, talk to Nick Saban about it, talk to different guys, talk to some guys that have retired, Gene Katie and guys like that. And, they all tell me, be careful because you'll miss the locker rooms, you'll miss the practices. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. So I'm good, but I promise you this, I won't be here when I'm not wanted, and I won't be here when I don't feel I can do my job.
So the news came out yesterday, the second NCAA deal where the notice of allegations came out against Kansas. And the big thing that struck me was that they're clearly trying to say that TJ Gasnola, who was with Adidas, they're going to deem him a booster. And my thought on all this was, if they deem him a booster, Tom, doesn't that mean everybody associated with the shoe company ultimately is a booster? Doesn't that mean, and I'm not going to get into specific programs with you, but
sure.
There are programs out there that we know Nike helps. There are programs out there that we know Under Armour helps. Now, TJ Gasnola got caught and Adidas got caught. But aren't we going into kind of a slippery slope if we start deeming everybody, well, him and Adidas, a booster? Because I think then you could do that with just about everybody, because let's face it, all these shoe company people are helping somebody, aren't they? To some degree.
Well, here's the way I look at it. 2 years ago, everything we went through here, and I learned one thing. I don't read the newspaper. I hate to say it. I don't listen to talk radio like I used to, which some of those things I miss just because I like to follow sports, and I think athletics in general is going through a slippery slope right now. You look at this quarterback leaving Houston or whatever's going to happen there. I mean, there's just some weird things happening out there. The transfer stuff to me is weird. But one thing I learned 2 years ago, it's hard to comment on things that I don't know anything about. I can only say this, that if people aren't doing it the right way, I hope they get caught. If people aren't doing it the right way, I don't think they deserve to be in it. And if people are doing it the right way and other people are knocking them, well, then I don't think that's right either. So since I'm not there, since I wasn't in Vegas, since I'm not with the Adidas guys or I'm not with the schools that are involved, I can't say that I know as much as probably I should, because I've just dummied down after 20 years ago. Many things happened around here. I just decided then that if I let that eat me away, I'm going to waste more time complaining than doing my job. So that's kind of what I've taken out of it. I think what I keep looking at, Jeff, is I feel bad for anybody who's doing their job and people are getting in the way, but I also feel like people got to there is a slippery slope here. There is a lot of things getting out of hand, and we got to get back to the brass tacks and doing things the right way. And if people aren't, they should be nailed. And if people are, they should be applauded. And that's the way I look at it.
Don't you feel like the penalties have to be severe? Otherwise, coaches aren't. There's not going to be that fear unless somebody gets hit hard here. If this is, the minimal punishment at the end of the day, which I don't think it will be. I don't. I'd be shocked if the NCAA doesn't try to go hard here. But if they're not able to do what they intend to do, and whether there's lawsuits or whatnot, I don't know if the game is going to be cleaned up at all. I'm not sure the game can ever be completely cleaned up, Tom. I don't think it can.
Well, I don't know either, Jeff. I don't know, but I think this: if people are doing the wrong thing at any school right now, there's only one way, and I've been an advocate of this. I think coaches and players should be accountable.
Yep.
I mean, if players are accountable enough to leave and do whatever they want, they usually know if they're getting some benefit or extra benefit. So I look at this whole thing that it's like what you do with your own players. If they miss a bunch of classes or something and you say you slap their hand, it usually doesn't do anything. If you take playing time away or opportunities away, it usually works. And I'd say the same with anybody out there. I mean, if there's no real consequences, I don't think it's going to stop anything. And I'm not sure you're ever going to stop certain things. But the slippery slope thing you're talking about in general, I'm a little worried about where college athletics, basketball, football, where it's going when you look at what's going on here in the last couple of years.
So the big change on the court this year, 3-point line, moving back almost a foot and a half to the international line. I've talked to a bunch of coaches. I'm curious to see where you stand, because some coaches are telling me they don't think it's going to be a major difference at all. Others are telling me they think it's going to have a significant impact beyond the fact that you're going to be yelling at players early in the year because they're going to step out of bounds on the corner there. We know that's going to happen. Right?
You know what? I think you're right. I think you're right, Jeff. I would say this, that I don't know if it's going to have a major impact, but I've been a pretty big advocate that I wish we'd go to all NBA rules.
Yep.
Widen the lane, make the thing. Because I think then we could say we're playing the same kind of game, and maybe it would help kids realize that they can, they don't need to leave school and go to some other leagues or Europe and everything to make their game similar. So I've been an advocate of that. So I don't have a problem with them moving back the line. What I don't like is that we have some courts going to have 3 lines on it. I hate that stuff. I wish our women and our men could get together and really, if the women, men in the NBA would all get together, maybe it'd be a little cleaner look out there. And I think that would be what I would hope for in the future. But that's just me personally. I don't know if I care what they do as far as where they move it. And I think you're right. I think there's going to be some stepping out of bounds. I do believe that. I think kids are going to still take threes. I think the percentage will go down a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. And it's going to be exciting to see how it works out. I know we got enough big games early. We're going to find out.
You got one kid won't be affected, which is Cassius by the line moving back. How many other guys do you have that you think are, like, no problem, give them the green light, they're going to be able to make that shot without an issue? Yeah, I think Josh Langford, if he comes back 100%, I got to play a freshman Rocket Watts that will, and we got a big kid, that Marcus Bingham, that I think can shoot it from there effortlessly. But it's the tweener guys, that now they were tweener shooters to start with, and now they got to move back another foot. I think it's almost a test of their manhood. Everybody thinks they got to do it. True.
People want to shoot NBA threes. It'll be interesting to see if those percentages go down, and it'll also be interesting to see if it spreads the court a little bit more, and so I'm anxious to see if that happens. But in general, I don't think the thing's going to change what we do any great percent.
Where's Langford at right now, Tom? Was he able to practice today?
He's been going full he's been going pretty much full, for about 3 weeks. So we got some good stuff at the very end of the summer. And now he's cutting and doing all the things that scrimmaging and everything else. We'll kind of watch his pitch count a little bit. But other than that, with another month to go here, I like where he's at. But, you have 7 months off. You don't just come back in a month. It's going to take a little time. And I don't expect him to be back to his old self. Maybe, early in November we have, we got Kansas early, we got Duke early. I mean, that's going to be the challenge. But at the same time, I think he's improved in some areas too. Like I watch him, and he's really passing the ball better. And I talked to him about it, and he kind of said to me, I learned a lot sitting out. And Josh stayed in great shape. He must have shot 10,000 shots from a chair. He's a hell of a kid and a hell of a worker.
Kid.
And great kid.
Love
great
him.
Student.
Always smiling, Tom. Like always upbeat.
Yes, he is.
Even when he was hurt and he couldn't play, like some guys have their head down.
That amazed me. That he stayed such a good leader, and you hit the nail on the head. He didn't pout about it. He hung in there with his teammates. He made every trip. You learn a lot about a person when they're down. And what I learned about Josh Langford is he's an incredible person. So, and I think, what he brings to the table, like a McQuaid, but when he was there, he was playing better than anybody there before he went down. And like a Gary Harris or even a McQuaid a little bit, he's a two-way player. He can guard people and score. And there's not a ton of those around. Most scorers don't guard. So if he comes back full, I think it's a big advantage for us.
All right,
the other kid that was hurt late was Kyle Larns. And
that's right.
He's had actually a hell of a summer. And, he's been hurt so much here, it's hard to figure. But he really can shoot. He's the second best athlete on our team with his vertical. He's had a great summer, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed there too.
Today's show is brought to you in part by betonline.ag. Football season, it's going. betonline.ag is the only place you want to go to cash in on the gridiron this year. Bet on every spread, every money line, all the overs and all the unders. Take a shot at who's going to win the Super Bowl. The Patriots right now plus 400, even after the train wreck of Antonio Brown departing the Patriots. The defense has only given up 3 points. The offense is Tom Brady and Josh Gordon and plenty more. Feels like a pretty good gamble. The Chiefs are plus 550 with Patrick Mahomes. Cowboys with Zach and Zeke plus 1,200. Don't forget you can make custom player props at betonline.ag. Pick any player, any stat during any game. BetOnline will give you a line for it. Get in the action today with CLNS's sportsbook partner, betonline.ag. Get a 50% bonus in your first deposit of $55 or more. Use that promo code CLNS50 to qualify for the bonus. Again, that's CLNS50 at betonline.ag. What more can you expect out of Cassius? I mean, he did everything for you a year ago. Does he need to do more or just do what he does and maybe take another step defensively and everybody else has got to get better?
I think you just hit the nail on the head. We thought his strength and his defense had to improve. He really worked on his strength over the summer. It'll be fun to see if it pays dividends with his defense, and that's half me, half him. But, last year he turned it over a little bit more than he did the year before and didn't shoot quite as good from the three as he did the year before. So he's working on that.
Shit, you put everything on the poor kid. Come on. Of course he's going to turn it over more.
I did. I had him coach the team, and I do feel sorry for him. And probably at the end of the year, I ran him into the ground. That was one of the things. He was just playing too many minutes because we had all those injuries. But I think he'll play less minutes. He might not score quite as many points just because of that. But I think in general, he'll have even a better year. I mean, he's really excited about it. He's looking forward to it. As you know, and you've talked to him more than a few times, Jeff, he has no ego. He's got humility. He's got to learn how to lead a little better, a little more demonstrative. To be honest with you, he's got to, I think, play with a little more excitement because, Magic was in practice last Thursday and he grabbed him and he said things like that to him. I want to be watching you on this. I'm going to be watching you on that. How you lead, what you do. So I think those are the little things, but. Boy, he's done more for me than I've done for him, so I think we're in a good place.
No, he has. He's definitely exceeded my expectations from when I watched him even in AAU, and I remember you saying he's an elite level passer, and he's that, and he's an elite level shooter, and he just doesn't look the part. You look at him and you're like, really? But man, he's kind of that silent killer, and like you said, and he's got that. personality to him off the court, maybe not as demonstrative, but he's got some of that off the court if it could just translate. And I know that's what you like. You want to see a little more fire out of your guys. That's
you. A
you.
little more fire, but I want to see him lead those guys a little bit more, and he'll do that, I think. And I think he's comfortable now, and I think he realized what his role's got to be, and it helps. Last couple of weekends we've had Steve Smith here talk to him a little bit, and Magic talk to him a little bit, and Miles and Jaron were back in, and some of those guys, and so what they do is tell him what it's like at the next level. What do you got to do to improve to get there? I've really enjoyed that I think he understands that he was really good, but he's got room to get better.
Sure.
And that's awesome, to be honest with you.
Well, again, if he can take another step defensively, you think of how good you guys could be. And again, it's hard to ask that out of a kid who does so much in the offensive end a year ago. But I did think he made strides because I thought 2 years ago he was a liability defensively.
I would agree with you 100%. I think he did make strides, and I think his added strength and maybe a few less minutes. I mean, he had to save himself. I mean, at the end, everybody says, well, their guys play 39 minutes or 40 minutes, but that's not how we play. We play with pressure on him. We play pushing the ball. And so, and we expect him to score and do all these other things, So I'm pleased with his progress this summer. I think he's going to have a great year. He's going to have a great year if we're going to live up to some of those expectations.
Rocket Watts, what do you love about him?
Well, he's a rocket. His nickname is what he is. Cassius is kind of doesn't have the measurables but has the skill. Rocket has some skill, but he has measurables. He's got speed. I mean, his first step is explosive. He can shoot the ball from long range. It's just a matter of him figuring out he could be really good defensively. He's got strength. He's got toughness. It's just, a matter now of getting some experience. But I've been pleased with him. He got here late because the prep school he went to they had some problems, and so he got here a little late, and that hurt him a little bit. But at the same time, I've really been pleased with the progress he's made. And Rocket and Gabe Brown are guys that spend all their time in there. They're shooting. They're doing the things you need to do, and I think that's going to bring big benefits.
I mean, you could play him a lot with Cassius, right? I mean, those guys can play off each other well.
I could play the two of them together, and he could play the one or the two, and and that's why I see it, the 1 and 2, and then Gabe Brown and Kyle Arns. We've got some subs there now, and last year with the injury, especially when Kyle went down in the Big Ten tournament, we were just left with not much, but Josh had gone down, and Nick Ward had gone down, so the injuries really added up, and it made us play some guys. So by the end of the year, the Cassiuses and McQuaid's and even Tillman's were really, I think, walking on their elbows, and that was a little bit my fault and a little bit nobody's fault. Just those are the cards we were dealt.
So I assume you paid attention to this California bill that passed, a New York proposal by a senator, basically all trying to get it so that kids can get paid, make money off their name and likeness. The California one, I guess, would allow them to play, and it would be illegal to take a scholarship or eligibility away from them if they do accept any endorsement money. Where do you stand with all this now? I've come a long way, to be honest.
I've never been a fan. Yeah, I've never been a fan of being paid. I just don't see how you can do it with Title IX issues and all the things you got to do. I don't see that, being as easy as people think it is. I also, I think it's been good that we're trying to get a cost of attendance and give kids a little bit more so they can enjoy their college career. But, I tell you this, Jeff, I know the route you came up, the route I came up. paying your dues and going through some things. And I think we are going to miss the boat when kids can come out of college or high school right away. College is still your greatest years, and going through tough times is part of it, And so I worry about it. If I was to tell you the truth, I don't care either way. I definitely don't. I want to help the kids, but I learned this. I grew up very poor, and now I make a lot of money. Money isn't all the answers. Sometimes they cause more problems than good.
Yeah, no doubt. No, you're right. You're right about that, and I'm with you with college. Yeah. I mean, listen, now I won't tell you the percentage of classes I went to at Arizona, but I did love college. Maybe it's because I went from Boston to Arizona, and it was hard to get into a classroom. I'd rather be playing ball or, I don't know, sitting by the pool.
My buddy Mary to this day all the time, and the first thing we talk about is college. And I feel bad that so many of these kids are going to miss out on that experience. I don't know what rule is the best rule, but I don't think there's any question that 2 years of college would help 99% of the kids. It would help the schools. But if you ask me, it would help the NBA, and that's where I differ. And I really think it would help them. You'd get a more polished guy. You'd get a more educated guy. And I think it would help them. That's just my opinion. It's worked pretty well for football. And although I think the day's coming where that'll change. Everybody in our society now, it's a millennial deal that everybody wants everything immediately. People want your job immediately, my job immediately. Well, there's a price to pay, and there's there's just not many LeBrons.
Well, that's the thing people don't understand. Right.
These kids are going to be out on the street because more are going to fail than succeed. I guarantee it, and that makes me sad for them. Listen, I'm going to have a job. The school's not going anywhere. The NBA or NFL is not going anywhere. It's the kids that are going to lose out, and where everybody thinks it helps them. What I like to see, maybe a little more money for them, or what I like to see them pay for their parents to go to the Big Ten tournament, or now we finally do it in the NCAA Final Four. Would I like to see a little bit of that? Yeah, I would. I would like to see some of those things. But if we get into pay for play or, the likeness thing, I understand. I just don't know how that would be.
What about giving
all around?
My first idea, just to take a step forward, would be give them a percentage of their jersey sales and give it to them when they graduate.
Well, I think any time you do anything that you could put a carrot in front of, man, I'd even pay them more money if you could do it when they graduate, put some kind of thing out there. So, because we all know that these kids go to the league, and first of all, not many go to the league, but the ones that do, we all know that they're going to, if they have a great career, it could be 5 years, and they're still going to live 60 years and need an education and need to do some of those things. Now, if you make it real big, hey, granted, that works that way, but what percentage of people do that? And so I would be in favor of stuff like that. I just don't know if you're at Alabama, is your helmet going to be worth more than if you're at Northern Michigan University, and what is that going to do to recruiting and all that? But I'd like to see us do something for everybody the same. Cost of attendance was a step in the right direction. I don't know how much at a lot of these places they make off jerseys and things like that. I don't think it's as astronomical as you'd think.
No, unless your name's Zion, right? If your name's Zion, you probably made some good money off your jersey. Sure. But he doesn't even need it now. He's got $100 million from Nike.
No, he doesn't really need it, and that's my worry. When they start coming out of high school.
But a kid like Cassius, Tom, what about a kid like Cassius? He might be a good example because we don't know what type of NBA career, if he'll even have one, and he's certainly selling a good amount of jerseys around East Lansing. He could have some money when he graduates.
Well, I do like your thought, and I've been on the boards that have talked about this kind of stuff with a lot of different amounts of money. If you put that carrot in and try to help them graduate and or give them the money when they're done, I would be more in favor of that. I think whenever you start throwing money around, I'm going to tell you something. I work hard at making sure that money didn't change me. I'm not sure I've done a great job, but as I said, money isn't always the answer.
No, it
seems like it at the time, but it's not always the answer.
All right, so when can I get all the video from the trip cam? How can I get this video?
From which cam?
From the trip cam, right? Don't they get you when you trip in practice all the time? I want to know.
Ooh, you did your homework.
Of course I did. Come on, I want good dirt. Good dirt is exactly what I want.
Sometimes I wear a certain pair of tennies that have a little more rubber on the bottom, and I must drag my feet a little bit. So I've been working out a little more, though, so I'm not going to trip any this year. It's too detrimental to my face.
Have you face planted? Have you legitimately face planted?
Nah, I've gone down once, but normally I just kind of trip, and it is pretty funny. But I'm impressed that but I'm going to find the guy who told you and fire him. How's that?
That's not going to be hard for you to figure out who the hell it was. We know who the biggest leak is in your office, don't we?
Yeah. It's probably funny. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, what's your record for most free throws in a row?
117.
That's insane.
117.
How old were you?
I still do it most of the time. And, it's been something fun. It's one of the few things that I can actually challenge a player on.
And beat him.
And he thinks he can beat me, but most of the time he can't.
Do you do that with recruits when they come on campus?
No, those, the NCAA probably would put me away for life.
I forgot.
I can't gamble or bet recruits.
I'm not saying gamble with them. I'm just saying, do you have some sort of contest where at least I thought when I've seen you do it before, and I was like, wow, like I just didn't expect it. And you drain, I don't know how many in a row when I was watching you, but 117, that's pretty good.
I've had my share where I'm hitting in the 90% more often than not, but it's something I enjoy. I usually do it while the team's stretching, for 8 minutes. I just get a manager and do one right after another. But it's one of those things that's fun. And once in a while, a guy will challenge me. But when they're stretching, they see me make a lot. They don't want to challenge me because the last thing a player wants to do is lose anything to the coach.
No doubt. Well, listen, I appreciate you jumping on for a little bit. I will see you at Big Ten Media Day next week. Try to maintain your composure there a little bit this time, all right?
Hey, you know what I'll do? I'll wear regular shoes and make sure I don't trip as I walk over.
Yeah, we need a camera on you. I think we do need you'll have your dress shoes on. Yeah. You'll be okay. Go. I'm telling you. I'm not giving away my source, but again, you could figure it out. I'm willing to pay a lot of money for that tape. A lot of money. I think it's worth it.
What I can do for you, my man. And you have a great night, and thanks a lot for having me on.
You got it, Tom. Thanks, man.
See you, Jeff.